August 31st, 1990, something crazy happened. I was born. A lot of you may be like, oh, why should I care? I don't even know who you are. Well, my family life growing up was actually not that bad. I had loving parents and my dad had a great job. See, around the time he and my mom met, he started his own law firm. So by the time I came around, financially, things were taken care of. When I was 7, my dad started training me in the ways of the business, and all the time he'd say things like, "Son, this business is like a little kingdom." And I'd be like, "Okay, Dad." Because I was homeschooled, I spent the bulk of my days hanging out with family. Whenever I wasn't with my dad, I would spend time with Uncle Scott, and he was always cynical and hilarious. He'd tell me how much he thought the window washers were doing a horrible job and that they needed to clean up their act. But I spent most of my days hanging out with this girl, Natalie. Because her parents were best friends with mine, they decided it'd be best to homeschool us together. We got along great, and it was nice to have someone else around that wasn't related. I remember this one time our parents were making us do homework on Halloween night, and we were so mad that we couldn't go out trick-or-treating, so we waited until Natalie's mom was on the phone and snuck out to play hide-and-seek at this nearby graveyard. And that's where I got my first kiss. But little did I know that one act of rebellion would change my life forever. When my father discovered that we had snuck out, he was frustrated. So instead of being grounded from video games like a normal child, I was punished to clean the outer office windows for a week. My first day helping out the window washer was the most terrifying experience of my life. As we were cleaning, the motorized scaffolding gave out from underneath us, and I fell for a total of 6 stories, losing consciousness along the way. Thankfully, I was buckled into my harness and my lifeline did its job and saved my life. When I came to, I was in the hospital, where I only suffered from minor burn injuries to my hands along with a small scar on my forehead. Uncle Scott later came to check on me. He told me that my dad, in an effort to pull me up by my lifeline, had fallen off of the building. The news felt like what I imagined the Dementor's kiss to be like. I felt like a soulless body that happened to still be alive. The guilt was so strong that I ran away, and with no food or money, I became ill. And later I found a shelter that took me in and took care of me, and that's how I met my 2 best friends, Tim and Paul. They had a much different outlook on life than I had, and they were the first people that told me that guilt wouldn't bring my father back, and that if I wanted to make something of myself, I had to move on. When I was 15, I started working at a grocery store. One day, when I was stocking the shelves, a customer approached me. And when I looked up, I saw a much older version of the same girl who first kissed me all those years ago. "Everyone thought you were dead. We need you back at Pride." By the way, that's the name of my dad's firm, the Pride Law Firm. "No one needs me. Scott's the CEO now. Scott let the mob run the law firm from the inside. There's no justice or honesty." And we argued for a little while until, "So, you wanna, go out tonight?" Yeah, sure. Yeah. What should I wear?" Because I had never been on a date, I was afraid of acting awkward, but surprisingly enough, her narcissism and nonstop talking overshadowed that. Oh yeah, Natalie, if you're watching this, which I know that you are because I sent this to you, you were a horrible date. And just so you know, I never wanted a play-by-play of the day you and your ex broke up. Anyways, I had a choice to make. Keep my peaceful life and easy job, or properly honor the death of my father by reclaiming my place as CEO of the Pride Law Firm. I became so stressed out from not knowing what to do, I decided to do some acid. My boy Rafiq provided. He's in the state pen now, and I don't know if he's still alive or whatever. Rafiq, if you get out of prison, don't call me. All worked up on drugs, I started seeing crazy things. I could have sworn I saw my dad in the sky say to me,
"Rafiq should have not given you those drugs."
At that moment, I knew I had to go back. I'll never forget the day I strolled into my dad's old law firm. Desks flipped over, papers scattered, and no existing scent that anything civil had happened in a decade. Everything had gone to hell, and Uncle Scott was nowhere to be found. I looked through my dad's office for some clues. I saw nothing but an old boot sitting on the desk. I reached over to examine it. All of a sudden, I was standing on the very roof I had once fallen from, staring into the eyes of the man who fed our fortune to the rats. That boot was a portkey.
Now would you look at that? The boy who lived come to die.
It ends tonight.
Oh, does it? Because the last I checked, you were on your way to...
I shot him with a gun.
Why? Why?
Because you killed my father.
No. Sure, your father and I had our differences, but it was your mother who killed him.
I don't believe you. I shot him again with a gun. I wasn't about to allow a psycho throw a wrench in a perfectly good script.
The king has returned.